I see a thumb. We're gonna start.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, it's 6:35. I'm gonna call this study session of Littleton City Council to order on April 25th. All of council is present tonight. We've got 3 items on the agenda tonight. We've got update on the Visit Littleton website, and we have an update on the emergency management, and then finally a discussion on the vision and outcome indicator components of council's emerging strategic framework. So this is kind of a follow-up from the retreat. But first, we will start with our Visit Littleton website update. So, turn to the city manager.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. As I look at our staff communication tonight, this project has been in the works and has been a vision since 2019, articulated by the council and worked on by staff throughout the pandemic and picking up steam since then. The vision is for a website that will drive more attraction to Littleton, highlighting our attractions and our restaurants and our hotels and tying them a little bit more together so people know how to optimize a visit to Littleton. So I'll stop there and ask Kelly Nardi, our Director of Marketing, Communications and Marketing, to introduce our team tonight and give a brief overview. This is intended as an update. We still have some ways to go toward our launch, and you'll hear more about that, but we just want to make sure that we're checking in with council, making sure that we're kind of following through on your vision also as we get closer to that launch plan. So Kelly, take it away, please.
All right, thank you. Good evening, council, and good evening, residents. I'd like to introduce everybody here. I think you may know Kelly Anton, some of you. Kelly's been a longtime volunteer in the Littleton community, very active with the Friends of the Library Museum, but she's also our consultant on this project to help create some of the content to populate the website because Kelly knows this city inside and out. And then, of course, Kathy Weaver is our Deputy Director of Communications. And then we have joining us from Florida are the consultant team who built the website. That's Michael Bunton on the top right, Michael Carnetti on the bottom right, and Daniela Velez on the bottom left. We have a slideshow for you, so I'm going to go through that pretty quickly because we really just want to show you some of the features of the new website and give you a feel for it. So as the city manager mentioned, this project started in 2019. That was phase 1. We did an RFP to create a Visit Littleton brand. In the fall of 2019, we hired RRC Research Associates out of Boulder and Barnhart Communications to do the research and create the branding. And this is the branding. We ordered t-shirts and they didn't arrive, and we ordered aprons for the meet greet meet. So we thought we'd wear something that had the brand on it. Then in January of 2020, we had the project kickoff, and then you know what happened in March of 2020, we had the pandemic. That slowed us down quite a bit. Later that summer, the public outreach and the surveys were conducted. There was an online survey with 533 responses. In-person surveys were 647 responses. That was mainly from them attending weekends on Main Street and talking to people on the street. And then they had 27 business surveys that were completed. In August of 2020, we presented the Visit Littleton brand to you and the results. The summer of 22, we did phase 2, the RFP for this website. And then we selected the Zimmerman Agency in December of 2022. This is an agency that specializes in creating tourism and visitor websites. So this is really a very niche kind of product, and we're just really happy to have been able to work with them this time. Why build a website? Littleton's no longer a suburb, it's a destination. We have 565 hotel rooms. We have many amenities that are regional draws like Hudson Gardens, South Platte Park, downtown Littleton, of course, and the museum. In Visit Denver in 2021, there were 16.6 million overnight visitors that spent $5.5 billion. And did you know the average spend on a domestic overnight trip is $469 per person? And according to Hudson Gardens, that their wedding venue business generates $1.5 million in revenue to Littleton based hotels. We talk a lot about our awards, but we've been named the 7th most visited city in Colorado by the Denver Business Journal, the best place to visit in Colorado, 13th best place to visit in Colorado. As you probably heard, the Criterion was just named the best event in the state of Colorado in the governor's Downtown Awards for Excellence. And city tourism programs attract first-time and repeat visitors, and they help make the economy more resilient. And many other cities our size and even smaller have visitor websites. This visitor website has a number of features, not all of which I understand, but it is ADA compliant. Our goal was to create a one-stop shop where you could find everything you wanted to know about a trip to Littleton. You can book a hotel room, you can make a reservation at a restaurant, you can buy a ticket to Town Hall Art Center, you can find out about events and other things to do in the city. This is a very search engine optimized website. That's been Daniela's role in this project, is to make sure that it's got the most robust search engine. So at this point in time, enough of me talking, I want to turn it over to our team with Zimmerman and have you guys show us the site.
All right. Well, I can elaborate a little bit more on the features just to help you out there, and then I will turn it over to Mr. Button here in a second to walk you through the site. But as far as ADA compliance, we make sure that sites we do for all of our clients are 100% compliant, to make sure that persons with disabilities can actually have the same experience as anyone, for the website, and we take things like color contrast into consideration. We make sure that all the images have it's called an alt text, which allows the screen reader to read out the description of the image. We make sure that videos have captions. We make sure that forms have labels. And then, the websites have a mouseless, capability to where you can navigate through a site just using your keyboard. So it makes your website 100% compliant for anyone who has a computer. So as far as SEO, we feel strongly that all websites are built on SEO, that solid foundation. We do a lot of keyword research and analysis and competitor research, and we make sure that, your website can be found organically, through we do a lot of research to figure out how people will search out your site, whether it's, visiting the surrounding areas or certain, attractions or restaurants, and, just planning their stay and wanting to, be in the general area. So we take everything in consideration, and we make sure that your website will rank accordingly and be very competitive in the area to boost more traffic to the physical geographic region. As far as mobile responsive, we make sure that, your website is, responsive on all devices, whether it's a cell phone or a tablet or a desktop or a big screen TV. It's going to look good regardless. It's going to scale accordingly and, give a very good user experience across the board. As far as custom coding, we deliver, we have a team that designers and developers that we do not use templates. Everything is custom coded with the user in mind to make sure that they are receiving and experiencing a one-of-a-kind experience on your website. So through a lot of conversations with the Littleton team, we have made sure that the design is on point and it creates the experience for users that we want them to have, so that they can navigate very easily and find what they want to find on your website with no trouble. And then finally, as far as hosting, we just want to make sure that your site is safe, your site is fast, and it's always backed up. So we have a 99.9% uptime. We make sure your site is up and running at all time. That 0.1% is usually a little bit of maintenance here and there, but it happens in the wee hours of the night. So users don't usually experience any pain in that regard. So with that being said, I will assume stop sharing. Michael, do you want to share your screen to actually do the walkthrough on the site? Okay.
Yes. I am gonna get over here to you. I'm trying to find which tab it is in that I need to share here. So give me just a second to figure out. I have a lot of open tabs. Here we go. And of course now my computer is giving me a problem. So
I'll ask a question there to Phil.
Sure.
Yeah.
So with the ADA compliance issue, I know with, what was it, House Bill 211110, as I look at the attorney, that
Yes.
required all, was it all government websites to be accessible? I know that. How are we assured that that will be the case? Or are we subscribed to a service that'll check the accessibility? I know there's various services like, by job, we have a website that Accessibility checks the accessibility and gives updates as things happen. As you add new events, new things to the website, you don't want to deal with that. Are we having some sort of control on that?
Do you want to answer that, Kathy? I'm writing the question down and I will get back to you on that.
I can help. I can answer that for you a little bit. Since the ADA compliance is kind of like my thing that I geek out on. We use a couple different tools. There's a number of tools out there that simply will just go through the coding of your site and tell you what kind of problems or issues that you may face or things that need to be corrected. So as we're developing, what we're doing is we code. One of the things, because we custom code things, we're aware of what we're trying to do and how we code, that we need to code in a certain way to make sure that it's compliant from what we start with. And then from there, what we're doing is we run checks on it regularly. So then at the end of this process here, which is coming up in about 5 or 6 weeks from right now, when we deliver the final product and the website's actually turned on to the public, that is what we would consider to be ADA compliant to a WCAG 2.0 compliance level, which is basically what is considered to be the current standard for compliance. And in that, from there, then this particular tool that we use, it's called DynoMapper, is probably one of 3 or 4 really commonly recognized tools out there as the tool that can measure your compliance. It can be set up to where it can be run on a regular basis. We typically just say, once every quarter would be something that you would want to go in and have DynoMapper run a report and just check and make sure that it's there and it's still compliant. Again, hopefully how we've built it, so no matter what content is getting put into the site in the admin area, that the base of it itself is compliant. And so we won't see any kind of issues pop up from that point forward. So it's just something that you kind of need to run a check on every once in a while. That's just something we would recommend like once every quarter that you do.
So following up on that.
Yep.
The House bill that our mayor mentions requires governmental entities to be at 2.1 on the WCAG.
Okay.
By July 1st of 2024. Will the site that is, I guess, being developed be in compliance with that? You mentioned 2.0,
yeah,
which is we're all operating under, but will there be an ability to kind of upgrade, if you will, to kind of the future standard?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's one of the different things in DynoMapper. It can measure different levels. And so what we would actually do then is we would just deliver it then as a 2.1 level compliance. So that way we're good. Yeah. So we will just, I literally just wrote myself a note to make sure we do it to 2.1 and No problem.
Are you in the website now?
Okay, so what we pulled up here is just
This is just the initial homepage. Now, again, please remember that what you're looking at is still in a non-completed state, and it's an active dev environment. And so literally I had to cut one of my developers off of here about 3 hours ago and say, stop touching it now. Don't be doing any more work on this until we get through tonight. So in some of the screenshots that you saw previously, through just in the last few minutes, you'll see that this looks very similar to that. It's not exact yet, but it's getting there. And so what we've got on this homepage right now, we've got it built as a carousel of images. I know right now it says downtown Littleton on every single one, and not one of them, I believe, is downtown Littleton, but I believe one of them is one of the parks. And so we know that it's just there as like filler for us to be able to test and have things lined up and see how it looks and make sure it's functioning correctly before we actually go put content in there. This also will be replaced or have the ability to be replaced with a video that would just autoplay. Again, that would be showing highlights of things that are going on in the Littleton area. And so it can function in multiple different ways. It can also just be a single static image if that's what we want it to be. So like when the criterion comes up, that would probably be what you would want to have the focus of, is that one singular event, because it's such a specialized and unique event in Colorado. So you would want to have that so it's really easy to display information about it. So it can be multiple different things. And that's what we're trying to do is, as we build this, is that we build it in a modular way. So as we scroll down, you'll see just some different headlines, unique copy. This will be a carousel here again that can just be highlights of different things, whether it's events, whether it's a specific restaurant, a hotel, whatever it is that you want to highlight. That those kinds of things can all exist there very easily. Mike, if you go ahead and click on things to do up at the top in the menu, let's click on things to do and then click on all things to do, just as an example of that. Go ahead and click on all things. All right, and then scroll down. So you'll see kind of a theme through this, and that what we want to be able to do is make being able to find things to do, places to stay, places to go eat, different events very easily found to look good. And then from there, we would be able to go in and you could click on learn more by being able to find more information about that particular attraction, whatever that is. And so you'll see that if you mouse just up, Mike, again, just click over things to do, you'll see kind of like all the different kinds of things that we have that we're putting in here, different kinds of content. So things, whether it's family friendly, dog friendly, shopping, museums, history, things like that, that there's a wide variety of things that are there. And so no matter what people are looking for, that they'll be able to see like, oh, here's all these different things that we can do while we're visiting the area. Same thing then under food and drink, Mike, if you can just go ahead and click on food and drink and mouse over that for just a second. Same type of thing where you've got all of these different types of restaurants that you can visit in the Littleton area. Go ahead and click down on restaurants, and this will give us the ability where we have just a couple examples in there of some of the restaurants in the area. And again, we've just got an initial few that we've put in just as examples there. And so each one of these would have, photo, information about it. One of the things that I see that we need to add in here that's missing is a phone number, just so it's clickable from there. And then Mike, if you'll go ahead and click on the Andy's Frozen Custard learn more button right there, and we'll go to an example of how we want to be able to give essentially each of these businesses essentially like a little micro website on their own that they have there. And again, as you scroll down, you'll see more information where we've gotten just a little bit of copy just to give somebody a sense of what it is if they find this, an address, phone number, And then one of the other things that we need to add within this page here is a map of where you can actually see where it's located at. So you could click on it. And then especially if you're on your phone, you would be able to click on it, have it open up directions right there on your phone and be able to drive right there. If that's what you were looking for, you were like, that's where I'm going to go eat. So that's just a little bit kind of like of an overview of how we're highlighting some of the things to do and some of the businesses that are functioning inside Littleton. The other part that I wanted to show was then under plan your stay. So Mike, if you'll go under click on your plan your stay, and I believe it's the first link under plan your stay, the accommodations that again, our goal in doing this is that we want to make it easy for people to find things to do, places to go eat, places to stay, because those are tourism dollars that we want to have to come into the Littleton area. And so again, the same kind of thing here is that we've got examples where each of the different hotels that are in the area, just so you can see what they look like. So if somebody's looking for it, it would be easy for them hopefully to be able to pick it out as they drive by it. And be able to find them. And again, these would be the same kind of thing of if you were able to click on learn more, then you would see a little bit more detailed information about that particular hotel. One of the other things that we're adding in here is also a little bit about a price range, just so you can get a sense of what the price range would be for a typical night at each of these hotels, just so it gives a visual look to somebody that's looking at this saying, okay, I want to spend about $125 a night. Which one is that? And then they can pick from that, or they can see what the differences are in that particular hotel.
Michael?
Yes, go ahead.
When you click on these links, are there links to their website? You had mentioned kind of putting address and
Yes.
phone number. I
Yes.
know that Keith and I are thinking about kind of a docudrama. And so we might want a link that would go to our YouTube channel, and we're looking for subscribers.
Mhm.
But
Yes. So that's just one of those things
You don't have to answer that question.
You just move on.
where we would, yes,
Suspiciously
we
like
do.
your question.
right. We do want to be able to sit there. And so like if you were to click on the Residence Inn by Marriott, you would want to, we need to have one of the things we just haven't added on there yet. There needs to be a button on there to be able to say visit website. So it's just a direct link into their booking. So you can go right into there and book essentially from here.
Just kind of, who will manage the database for this? Because as this is, what I do for one of my jobs here, it's
Yeah.
a butt because you got businesses that want to be on. You decide that when information changes, is that going to be in-house at the city here?
Yeah, it will.
How will we decide who's on there at first? Every business?
Well, they're in they're in categories. So it has to be something that fits in a category. But we're gonna
Restaurants is a
manage that, and we've worked with the economic development staff, and they've helped us create the list of the restaurants and the shopping areas and so forth. But we have a marketing and events manager, and so ultimately, she'll be working with economic development to keep it up to date. I think economic development is gonna work on the business and restaurant side, and we're gonna work on the event side of things.
What's the process for a restaurant that's not on it that wants to be on it? What do they-
Just contact us. We're friendly.
I have a question too.
Yeah, so we'll have a way on here
to be able to submit your information or submit events. And so again, we want to be able to draw in community events. So if there's different places that have different events, they'll have an ability to be able to go in and submit their event directly into the site, where then it just becomes something that Kathy or one of the other staff members there can just simply look at it and then decide yay or nay, and they can click a button that publishes it right up to the website. So it's a very easy process to be able to go in and administer from their end. And it's pretty much just like you're filling out a form on a website is what it looks like in the back end.
Your question, that question?
I see some overlap between this and what the Littleton Business Chamber is doing, so could you speak to that a little bit?
I'm not really familiar with what the business chamber is doing. I don't know, is theirs just based on
yeah, theirs is based on their membership, but trying to put together maps and,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, this has been in the process for 4 years, so finally getting it to this point has been a process.
I think the big thing is a person that's looking to go visit is not gonna go to a business chamber website, they're gonna go to a tourism website.
And any promotion for any business, many places wanna promote it, I think that's great.
How have they been involved?
And I'll tell you just from personal experience with having done these, and I shared this with
Kelly and Kathy, I believe it was either yesterday or last Thursday when we have our normal calls, that I was in Tampa a week and a half ago at a Taylor Swift concert. I was taking my daughter to Taylor Swift. We were driving around down by the stadium and we were looking for a restaurant, and I essentially got this exact kind of website just simply for the Tampa area. And that's what drove me to go find. I literally clicked on something. We looked at the type of cuisine it had. From the description, I was like, ooh, that looks good. We looked at their website, we found their address, and we drove right there and ate. And that's the exact thing of what this is, what we want to be able to do, was that it was searchable. We were able to find it in Google, first of all. Then it was easily searchable once we got there. And then it gave us, here's some basic information, go to this website, you could look at their menu, and then I could go figure out how to get there and actually go give them my business and go eat there for a meal before the concert. So it was literally the exact thing of what we want to be able to do, of being able to find something just by Googling. And that's literally the site that we found. Again, it wasn't a chamber site. It was literally a Visit Tampa site. It allowed us to go in, search exactly the kind of restaurant we were looking for. And then from there, that's how we ended up at this restaurant. And it was a great experience, and it was a great restaurant as well. So that's exactly what we're trying to do here, is just simply make it findable, searchable, usable, and direct people to get people to go to different businesses and attractions here in the Littleton area.
City manager had a.
Thanks. Yes, to that point, I think, as we often do, we kind of start this, we want to check in with the council tonight. Part of that launch plan will be to preview and check in with a lot of our downtown organizations, especially. I think it's a really good point, since the business chamber has kind of gotten their legs in the past 6 or 12 months here, to make sure that they are aware, and then we can make sure that the sites integrate as well as they can. I also think an important distinction, because as I've been familiar with Chamber of Commerce sites in the past, is that, and it's an important point to note, our site will be agnostic completely with regard to businesses, hotels, and attractions that can be on the site. We aren't, meaning chambers often promote their members, that's their business. So our site will be different in that we won't be charging for placement, we won't be charging at all. It's really intended to facilitate promotion of all of our businesses. Also, I know Kelly mentioned the connection with economic development. That team, as council may be aware, has really worked on tuning up its databases for businesses. We've spent some money for better databases to make sure that we have all current businesses. So I think that connection on an ongoing basis will be real important with this site, to make sure that we can stay on top of it, because I know how easy it is for those to kind of lose pace.
And just to follow on to that as well, obviously we are going to have all these disparate sites out there, but we also have the DDA coming online too. The more we can do to have those businesses help us, with that launch would be fantastic. Either cross-posting or at least doing some social media blasts at the very least would be really preferred if they could. Not that they have to. It's not
Also, the
needed.
chamber, they're broader, their target is much broader than just tourism. State Farm and stuff that a tourist is not gonna be interested in.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure they're consulted, cause I think if they're not, they would be very frustrated.
And we just have, I know we're 5 minutes over, but Daniela was just gonna wrap up with just a little bit of about the performance and the metrics. Some of the things that can be tracked. If you could take that on, Daniela.
Let me do some screen sharing and I'll have that up and ready. Please let me know. I'm opening right now the document, but let me know if you can see the presentation. All right. Can everyone see my screen or not yet?
Nope, just you.
Not yet.
You know, that's okay. I don't think you need to bring up the screen if you just want to
Okay.
review on that slide.
Yes. So I think I got it. But as part of for every single client that we have, we like to be fully transparent on data, right? Analytics. We want to show how a website is performing, what we can do better, also which campaigns we can recommend based on data and not just, trying to guess. So we like to base our recommendations and strategies on the results that we see. For that, we have dashboards set up for each individual client, and we customize these based on their needs. So depending on which campaigns they're running, what their goals are, we display different tabs on that dashboard. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like. I believe I'm on the wrong one, but it's a 24/7 real-time data dashboard that anyone can have access to. It's connected directly to the sources. In this case, it would be Google Analytics. As you know, Google Analytics is the program that pretty much tells you about the website traffic, all the data points that every single business owner or business manager needs to know in order to make business decisions or marketing decisions. Some of them are location, for example. We want to see who is visiting the most your website, right? Where are they coming from? Where are they located? How long they stayed on your website? Which pages they visited the most, their gender, their age group. We also want to see which pages are the most visited on your site, so we can, track in a better way how is the performance of the page, but also the behavior of the users. So we can also track now with Google Analytics or GA4, which is coming on July 3rd. All of the Google Analytics accounts need to transfer to the GA4, which is pretty much the same thing, but more advanced. It reports on more things compared to regular Google Analytics. So for that, we can also set up specific tracking on each individual page. So let's say that we track all of your website and we see that most of the people are visiting the contact us form, right? That they're staying there for longer and that they're interested in engaging with the content on that specific page. For that, it would be really useful to have a tracking code on those buttons or scrolls to see how users are behaving with that specific page. So we can track clicks, we can track scroll depths on each individual page. We can also set up goals. Say, for example, how many users that visited your website we're actually clicking on a button on a specific hotel site. So we can tell you, like for last month, most visitors decided to click on the book now for, I'm just making this up, the Hilton. So it will help you to make better decisions as you gather data. So since the starting, it's going to be obviously zero traffic, and this is a brand new website. We're going to start as soon as we launch the site. Again, everyone will have access to this reporting dashboard. You will use your logins, and you will have 24/7 access whenever you want to see it, and it's real-time data. Any questions about Google Analytics website performance and what we are able to track? It's a pretty cool system. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Google Analytics, but it gives you a lot of information, and now it's very, very useful to understand who's visiting your website and what are they looking on the site, and what we can improve to make them stay longer on the site. Is also very important for you to show on Google searches, as Michael Button just referred in the beginning. It's very important for you to start organically climbing that ladder with Google and building trust with them. And that builds with time and some, strategies that go hand on hand in order for you to show for Google searches. But this is a great way to start and to understand the traffic and who is visiting, who is interested on your website.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other?
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, it sounds like though we won't be able to actually track whether they went and purchased that hotel or purchased that ticket, right? It just directs people to those business websites. Is that right?
Yeah.
We cannot track the website performance. So let's say we can track the book now button on our site where our Google Analytics code is implemented, but we won't be able to track the traffic on the Hilton's website, for example. Does that make sense?
That goes along with something I was gonna just throw out as a comment, because I know it's kind of part of Cindy's economic development strategy, is better tracking some of this data now that we have DDA, Business Chamber, new tourism website. Like, well, I think we collectively would wanna see, like, in a year, is what outreach strategies are having an effect? Can we correlate upticks in website traffic to upticks in hotel stays and, or restaurant revenue, something along those lines?
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot more information.
Absolutely. And if I can add anyone and as many users as you need to this dashboard, I would just need their email addresses, and that'd be all.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a little
Totes.
a little marketing tool. These will be given away at the State of the City and the Board and Commission dinner, but you get them first.
Oh, thank you.
That is a nice logo.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. We will transition over to item B, which is an update on the emergency management program.
Yeah.
Now, as Chief makes his way up here, I'll let him know that I told the city attorney that if you guys do a pilot of your docudrama Instagram, we can set you up in a study session to preview it for council.
Sounds good. We've got a lot of plot lines going on, there might be some cameos, I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah, that's me.
I totally understand. I don't want it to derail anything you've got.
Is that me? I don't think it is. No, it's not. That is.
Kids look like the right age.
Yeah, they look at their age, but it's not. It might be my kids, it's not me though.
It's my co-star.
Hi. All right. City manager?
Thanks, so we're going from multimedia with several screens and guests from all far reaches of the country
Digital analog.
to analog with our police chief and Nathan Fogg, the Arapahoe County Director of the Office of Emergency Management. So thank you both for being here. As council may be aware, since 2019, since the fire merger, the city has kind of cobbled together, I believe, with some leadership from the chief, of the basics of an emergency management plan. We need to do more than that, and I know that the chief's been leading that now, certainly since I've been here. The council approved funding in this year's budget for a new contract with Arapahoe County that I would just say is an excellent proposition and concept for the city, especially with our proximity to the county offices. It'll get us a lot of value for what we're paying. And on January 24th, council approved the contract that has enabled us to start working in earnest to put together our emergency management plan and the way the contract will work and kind of the program for the year. So with that, we thought we'd have an update tonight from Chief Stevens and Nathan or Director Fogg, and just on where we are and how those plans are taking shape as we work to finalize all of them.
Thanks, Jim. Mayor, Council. Thanks to Nate Fogg. Jim introduced Nate. He's the Director of the Office of Emergency Management for the county. Nate and the Littleton Police Department go way back. He used to be a sheriff's deputy with Arapahoe County, so we worked together many years. And we were very happy when he became the director. How long have you been there now?
July of 2013.
So, yeah, quite a while now, 10 years as OEM director, and it's been a great partnership. As Jim was saying, and as you saw maybe in the summary, the city of Littleton had a full-time emergency manager as part of Littleton Fire Rescue last in 2018. With the merger with South Metro Fire beginning in 2019, that position was absorbed into South Metro, and we lost that position for the city. So in the interim, nothing really major happened. I don't think that would require emergency management, little thing called COVID. But we have been piecemealing it together with all the different city departments that are responsible and would be responsible for emergency management services in the city. And it's bringing up.
No, sorry, I'm trying to realizing that I'm the only one for the next items here, so.
I thought we had a slideshow presentation.
No.
He prepared one for you.
Stay one step ahead.
I'm ready. So emergency management, and we've talked about this before, it's a very specialized skill and requires extensive training and certification. We just don't have the capacity within the city, existing resources or departments to handle that. You guys have all, we've had these discussions, and you very generously appropriated money so we could enter into contract with the county. This is about where we're at in that process, and as Jim was saying, the funds became available on January 1 with the new budget to contract for a 0.5 FTE for emergency management for the city. The employee is going to be a full-time county employee. We're gonna offset half of those costs with that contract, and that person will provide a number of services for the city, including a prioritized grouping of things that Nate and I and Gene Enley and Nate's staff met last month and discussed kind of what our priorities are and where we begin in those. As we see our priorities, basically we had a city's emergency operations plan that's published. Was last updated by our previous emergency manager in 2017. Council has to sign off on that document, and it needs an update. It has a lot of references to what Littleton Fire Rescue is going to be doing, so kind of need to fill those holes and update that document. That's probably our number one priority. Simultaneously, or next in line, is a continuity of operations agreement. If you guys aren't familiar with the continuity of operations, it's basically it's like a hierarchy for each department in the city, and how if this building became unavailable for some reason, where would we go next? Or if the mayor was unavailable to do whatever he needed to do, who's next in line to take that on? Yeah.
I think it goes Dogman, then Mayor.
Dogman, yeah, we
Yeah,
forgot about
Dogman's
Murdoch.
next, yeah. So just a secession.
You are local though, right?
Yeah.
You are our emergency manager, aren't you, for the city?
Well, yes and no. So we would get it done, but because emergency management is so specialized, we really did need to go with the professional.
Right, but I'm thinking still locally, we have to have somebody close.
Yes, the police department would be responsible for managing or coordinating. But any incident that we have that would like kick in the formal emergency management framework over multiple operational periods, we would partner with the county. But also, it also, when we have any, if you think of, I think the highest danger we have in the city of Littleton is probably a train derailment, with a chemical spill. It's probably the most disruptive thing we could experience, and something like that's gonna require every city department basically involved in addition to numerous outside resources to address. So we would coordinate the initial response as the police department, and as the thing grows and as the operational periods increase, we work with the county's OEM and their professional staff. So yes and no, but yes, more yes than no.
I
How's that sound?
Yes, the
Yeah,
answer,
yeah.
I think the answer is yes.
The answer tonight is yes.
Yeah.
You are the.
So
And
where
then
we
you hand off when
Right.
they show up, but.
Right.
I would say in terms of our employment agreements, I mean, we require all of our employees to be able to operate in that kind of emergency capacity if need be, so.
But in any organized emergency situation, you have to have somebody designated.
Yeah, it'll be June.
It'll be us. It'll be good, yeah. In the process though, and I'll let Nate talk about it, cause I don't ever stop talking, but, where we're at in the hiring process for this person, Nate, you wanna jump on that one?
Sure, so we announced the position a couple weeks ago. Had 85 applicants, which is kind of a low number, lower than we've seen historically. I think it seems to be trending with a lot of hiring in the area. We brought 16 forward to initial interviews. We have 8 that will go through the next phase. Our process is fairly rigorous with we don't rely on filters for applications. So my team and I look at every single app, and we're able to kind of separate wheat and chaff there. And they go to a kind of a standard oral board, you can tell me about yourself, and then, you know, those questions increase in difficulty. The next phase that they're coming into is kind of 3 components where they've got a completely unexpected stress test, where they walk in expecting another, you know, hey, you're going to do a presentation to a mock council or a mock community meeting, and they get thrown right into a live emergency operations center, radios going, and you know, just a million different things happening. So can we disrupt their OODA loop, their, you know, observe, orient, decide, act, and how can they handle switching gears, like how often these things happen. From there, then they go into their presentation, and then some creative writing and looking for that assessing that ability to, can you tell a story? Can you use your imagination to come up with solutions to difficult problems? From there, they'll go through the standard sheriff's background. Every employee follows the same process that a police officer or sheriff's deputy would with the psychological evaluations, polygraphs, background investigations, those sorts of things. And we found that really does result in better retention and a higher level of hire, if that makes sense.
You do polygraphs?
We do, yeah. Sitting on the box is terrible. I've done it a number of times. We do it for our government. But yeah, it is rigorous. It is. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm anticipating full scale from the time we finish process next Wednesday and Thursday. Filtered through, we're looking at the end of June before this person is ultimately onboarded. In the meantime, like the chief said, we've already met some of my existing staff, have already started working through the emergency operations plan assessment tool, looking at the updates, and from there we've kind of laid out a Gantt chart of our next steps with the city going forward. So.
You know, it's an important project that we talked about, having a specific, specified emergency manager. You know, it, not just for the response, but also for the recovery. You know, when federal funding and state funding becomes available, you know, we have to show that we have done a number of steps to prepare and mitigate for emergency plans, emergency operations. And having, this professional staff available to make sure that we're doing what we need to do on those preparatory tools, the assessment tools, the ops plans, the COOP plan, but also on a department and employee specific training to certain levels based on our areas of responsibility, what we need to do, because it's gonna touch almost every department, so public works and communications and finance and police, obviously, the city manager's office. And there's gonna need to be people like Jerry was saying, in each of those that have responsibility for emergency management. So getting all those folks up to speed on, awareness and operationally what they could be expected to do or what their staff would be expected to do is an important piece as well. And that's another thing we'll be doing as we move forward with this group.
So big priorities, once staff is hired and on board, I think I heard, are probably looking at the continuation of operations plan, or the COOP, which is very important. It's kind of second, if I'm not mistaken, to the emergency operations plan, which is fundamental. And then some of the training, those are
yes,
a couple of big steps.
Yep. And we're looking at, the training, and you've all probably, or most of you have probably been through different online ICS classes, incident command system or NIMS national incident management system classes. And they're enthralling, you know, the different levels and, you know, so, but they are essential for what we need to do. So we're looking for a template, you know, with the help of the professionals on what do you feel at this level in our government do we need? Do we need the 100? Do we need the 200? Do we need more advanced ones for more responsible parties as we go through? So in the past, we've kind of, you know, with our previous emergency manager, we were starting to go that direction and then it changed and left. We just don't want to have people go through training that's unnecessary or not in line with what the responsibilities will be. So that's a big piece of what we'll be looking for as well.
Questions, council?
After you made the hire, are you expecting to have the emergency operations plan kind of at least drafted? Are we looking like early 2024? It'll be done before then? Yeah. Okay.
So we're lucky, it's a fairly up-to-date document for the most part. I mean, it's mainly reviewing it, it's been 7 years, almost probably 6 years. Making sure it's still meshing with our government alignment. And then also any updates that have come along in the best practices. But it's not a heavy lift on that one, I don't think. The COOP is gonna be a little bit more because we're doing that one from scratch. But they're both necessary.
And you coordinate with South Metro Fire. I'm thinking of the Superior Fire. There might be something learned from that that's kind of something that would be incorporated in this new plan.
Yes, and not, Nate can address it, but I think one of the things that I look forward to most as, like Jerry was saying, the emergency manager for Littleton is that I have a very limited network of specialty resources that the county and the OEM has a much broader network. So on those large scale incidents, they're much better prepared to bring in outside resources than we are.
Sure. Yeah, we work obviously very closely with South Metro. Jackie Irwin, it was this Littleton Fire is there now. We have a good relationship, and with their executive staff, same thing. Great relationship in the field units, from apartment fires to strategy. So it's a close relationship. I don't anticipate a problem on that side of things. To the point of the Marshall Fire, Mike Chart is my counterpart up there and a dear friend. We've spent the better part of a year, just the two of us, beating up kind of what happened on the behind the scenes and the OEM side and the coordination piece and future state. I think we have some things that we'll be pushing into the broader public safety community on that topic.
Any questions? I have one, I'm gonna steal it from Mayor Pro Tem, she asked last week, is how often do we do exercises like a mock event that you actually say, we're gonna spend this day or this morning running through? So, I mean, you can, watching something on a computer screen can only get so deep into your brain there. We're actually running through an exercise might be more.
Yeah, so thank you for that, because it's one of the things we talked about is drilling and training and not just that online stuff, but the actual in-person, getting to do some hands-on things. And it'll vary depending upon availability and scale, right? It's a lot easier to do a smaller internal tabletop type thing where we do just that, talk through a disaster or more often than not probably debrief something that's occurred, like Nate was just talking about. But then there are opportunities regionally to participate in larger scale events, obviously to take more funding and things like that. Usually the federal government and the state will fund those types of events that we would partner in and work through. I just don't know how frequently they would be. Usually you see one of those like every other year or so, maybe on a larger scale one. But we do plan to not only, one of the things that we'll be doing is integrating some of our staff into the county Office of Emergency Management during a large scale event. We obviously need people to go to the OEM and work with them at the command center. But also we have our own center here for our smaller scale incident that we may have to mobilize. And Nate and his staff are gonna come over and take a look at our stuff too, so we can cross train, basic for lack of a better term, and help each other out as needed.
Yeah, so I'm thinking with the, an exercise for a mock train derailment.
And we did do one of those years ago. Remember Peggy Cole, Peggy Cole. She was a volunteer and she was all bloody and stuff.
In her coveralls.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. They were a mess. But yeah, we did do one, and it's important to do.
And there was a real train derailment, probably 15 15, 20 years ago.
A couple of them.
There's been a few in the news too, so it's not like it's it's not coming.
But the ability to bring in kind of the hazmat crews and those with training, I mean, that's why this is so important.
I'd be interested in doing a drill like that.
You're gonna be the bloody person.
Sure. I've done them before.
I think some of the timing for that will be driven by the updated plans. We need to have the EOP. One of the next steps I foresee with council is once the EOP is updated, and we're planning exercises like that, I think we'd like to come back to council and talk to you about what your role is in an emergency. What are some of those various roles?
Help the fire.
Right,
Stay out of the way, everybody
We keep you informed and you have a public information
That's what we need,
function.
Yeah, I think that's important.
But
so.
that's important for you to hear that, so that's kind of a next step.
But in emergency situations, we still have a communication officer, that actually, that's Kelly.
It's Kelly, yeah.
And, you know, cause we can't be
We have
putting stuff out
really a
there.
team, I think, with Shira and the police department and Kelly, we would be marshaling all of our
Yeah.
resources.
Part of the incident command structure will be a big
Exactly, yeah.
In terms
Not
of
next door, spreading rumors on next
kind
door.
of the decision
My
making
favorite.
process in an emergency,
about
we
that
have
in
an
2
emergency ordinance and basically Jim is kind of the head of state, so to speak, and those types of.
I thought chief was, I thought it says in there chief.
Very carefully. you
Very
gotta
carefully.
look. Extraordinary.
I don't wanna give away season 2.
It depends on how it goes, if it's a success, it was me, if it's a,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right.
It's starting to scare me now.
So is it the chief or is it?
The city manager
Yeah,
is ultimately responsible.
There's a whole plot in season 2, I don't wanna go into season
Don't give it away, it's a twist, yeah, plot twist, so.
Surprised it got out of the pilot stage.
I think Mark Ralph didn't want that power, so now I think, you know, this guy's different.
Great. Any other questions?
Thank you.
It's great.
All right, thanks.
Chief, thanks
Thank you.
very
Good to
much.
meet you.
Thanks.
All right. And then last up on the agenda tonight, we
This might be
have.
his first official duty, so let's see how this goes.
Yeah, bring Mike in here to run the show.
Start smoking.
So this was a follow-up from the retreat back in January. We had this for a couple weeks, more
Yes.
follow-up on the work plan. And we were talking, rather than do it all in one big event, we could break it up into 2 study sessions, since tonight was sort of light. So kind of more high level, look back at the vision and then to the outcome indicator. So I'll throw it to Jim, let him
Thanks,
drive.
Mayor. Yeah, I'll ask you to transport yourselves back to February 11th. We were over at
2020.
hotel. Exactly. It says Twilight Zone is introduction.
Got there late.
This is going to be, you know, the speed round. I know so many of us love retreats and all the goodness that go with them, but this is going to be hopefully some brainstorming and just speed round on some indicators tonight, which, as the mayor said, we thought if we could address these issues, kind of the follow-up pieces that we didn't quite get to during the retreat, then we can jump right in a couple weeks on kind of those next steps and filling in some of the meat around big projects we're going to be focusing on and how the work plans the annual work plans for staff marry up to those bigger goals and council priorities. So tonight, we did want to follow up because we said we would on just the city council's vision for the future, which at the retreat, we left that really as coming directly from the Envision Littleton project. There was a vision articulated there. I think those, along with the outcome statements that we're going to show in a minute here, really do kind of cast that vision for what we want Littleton to look like in, say, 20 years. I'm vamping for a minute as we get into some slides here.
I hear your feet.
Yeah, right.
Can we take maybe just like a short break?
Sure, we lost city attorney. We'll take, now we gotta make Kim run back up and turn off the recording though, so
Sorry, Kim. No worries.
we'll take 5. Everyone run, Steve's coming back.
We're gonna take a quick break after all that.
Came back to the room where everyone was going.
First part of this thing.
No more recess, we're back, I think.
All right, I'm actually clicking. Thank you very much, Kim, for your help. So at the retreat, we introduced this framework that will hopefully help us, it has already helped us, to look back at the Envision Littleton outcomes and principles and the product of that work, along with this council's experience from the past year, where you had set some city council goals. And then the goal was to kind of quote unquote operationalize, help take those Envision Littleton outcomes, take your current goals and try to synthesize those into some long-term outcome statements that the city can focus on and say, in order to advance our vision, these are the things we need to do. This is how we need to have impact. So at the retreat, just as a reminder, we started with that vision. We left a little bit of time because there was some interest in coming back to the vision, which is what we'll touch back on tonight. You did craft outcomes and you did identify some 2 to 3 year priorities for this council. And then from those priorities, which are more conceptual, you also identified what some of those projects, those actual goals for the next couple of years are going to look like. And this is where we are. You really can't probably read that, but this was the product of the retreat. We have a vision, which we'll come back to in a minute. We also have a placeholder for some outcome indicators that will answer the question, how do we know that we're getting there toward those outcomes? Then council talked about, okay, we know those outcomes are long-term. They're probably 20-year statements that stake out the corners of the organization, kind of why we're here. Staff, this is what we want you to focus on in the next couple of years. And those are city council priorities. You identified housing, safety, economic development, infrastructure, and environment. And then we said, okay, given those priorities and those outcomes, what are some of those key projects that you want us to make headway on, that you want to see happen in the next couple of years? And we had captured from there, I'll read a couple of them that I can. I'm sorry we didn't have printouts for you. But, you know, things like launch and, the Environmental Sustainability Citizen Committee. We have, developed, Littleton Boulevard Economic and Redevelopment Plan, complete the bike and ped plans, implement those results. Things, well, I won't read through all of those. We'll be bringing back those and focus more on those at your May 9th council meeting. So that will really be the focus, because what staff's been doing since the retreat has been taking our annual work plans and supplementing, you know, looking at what came from council at the retreat, what those 2 to 3 year goals are, what those projects are, and we're filling in the other 2 to 3 year goals that are already in the works, that we know we believe are also high priorities for the council. So under each one of those outcomes, we have another handful or so of those 2 to 3 year projects and goals that are also being filled in there. We're trying to kind of settle on how those look, what those are, so that we can bring those back to you and show you more of the complete picture on May 9th. And then talk about the next step, which is, okay, how do we set up the budget process so we can actually make progress on those this year and next year, okay? So that was what we did at the retreat. So tonight, we're gonna spend a few minutes and just check back on this vision statement. I think there was a lot of satisfaction, at least looking at, this is straight from the Envision Littleton plan, and this is a vision statement that will be paired again with those outcome statements, which I think give a little more color. But we had said Littleton is a place where visions and values endure across decades and generations. It's a place where nature and city living intersect, can both be enjoyed, and are guarded with a fierce sense of stewardship. So tonight, I guess we would just open up and we'll take some notes. Comments, if you know, you may give us direction that this is still what you like, and this it doesn't need more work, but I know there was a little bit of interest at the retreat to just chat about this a little more. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mayor, to talk about this at
So
all.
this one was kind of the sticky conversation at the retreat a little bit. And this kind of stemmed from when we were planning the retreat, to make sure what council does kind of ties back to that Envision process there that the community went through, so that we tie what our priorities and goals are to what the broader priorities and goals of the entire city was. And I think the hard thing is there's really not a very specific vision statement, as one thinks of as a vision statement in the Envision document, in that work plan there. And so I know staff looked and tried to figure out, kind of pull this out from a page that kind of was a little more detailed. And so that's kind of this idea where this was, that was the kind of the hard point. There wasn't really a 1-line, 2-line vision statement from that Envision process. So I don't know if anyone has any further thoughts on this. If there's, I mean, I'm sure we could sit here and try to tweak it all night.
I like it. I think it touches on a lot of different things, past, future, past, present, future. Where the city is, where it's been, where we're going, how we value it as a growing city, but still incorporating our trails, our open spaces, that sort of thing. I like it. I know it's not one sentence, but I like that it's multiple sentences, because I think it covers a lot.
Quick question on the Envision. So we're gonna re-enter the Envision 2.0 process, right, for the next comp plan update?
2025 is the tentative.
And is it proposed that the vision statement also be, that would be kind of part of that revisiting?
I would suggest that we make that point to have a distinct vision statement as part of that.
I was gonna say, I think it's great, I mean, it's wonderful, I think that, to Kelly's point, like, yeah, it encompasses a lot right now. We could spend all night tweaking it, but I also think too that community input on it would be really kind of the way to go.
That's where this came from,
Right.
I don't think the goal is that, that was a document, we're not gonna recreate and do that document right now.
Right.
I think that was the hard point is we're thinking we can try to find one specific vision statement that worked and it kind of works, but not perfectly.
And then you have supplemented that because where we're going next is, here's what the vision looks like, and those are those other pieces.
Sure.
Councilmember Grove?
I think a vision statement that guides you to the future, and I think this is very vague, and doesn't really help. But I think the process of updating it now maybe is not appropriate. I think would take a long time. This was done and blessed in 2025, and we need to do it again. Maybe we look at it, but it doesn't help me say, oh my gosh, I know what goals and outcomes and what staff should be working on, and what our short term, what we want to look like in the short term, or in 3 to 5 years, or in the long term. Just too vague.
I think it's more general, broad, like if you start honing in on like specific goals or projects, then that's kind of pigeonholing us. I think it's keeping it higher level to me. So you can incorporate a lot of different things within that. Historic preservation, environmental stewardship, city living, all of it.
I mean, I think it's a little long, but it's fine until we revisit in 2025.
I mean, I agree with both Councilmember Grove and Councilmember Milliman. I think it's not a vision statement as one usually thinks is in strategic planning is a vision statement, but without going through and rehashing the whole vision process right now, can everyone live with this? Is the vision statement guiding
absolutely.
our the work plan here?
Sure.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you, it's direction. So last piece for tonight, we're gonna ask you to get up a little bit and walk around, use some sticky notes, so we're actually back in retreat setting. As I said, this will be speed round. This is intended to be intuitive, intended to be if you were your next door neighbor and didn't necessarily have a lot of depth on what the city did. We're gonna talk about what the outcomes, what success looks like. How would you know that we're making progress? So again, we have this vision. Council said, if we're gonna drive this vision, we need to achieve these things. We need to have a vibrant community with rich culture. We need to have a sustainable community with natural beauty. We said we need to have a robust and resilient economy. We said we need to have a safe community, and we said we need to have high quality governance. So the challenge in the next 15 minutes, maybe even 10 if you're fast enough, is to think again intuitively. When you think of vibrant community with a rich culture, what does that look like? What are the kinds of things that we could measure over time on our way to vibrant community with a rich culture? I always default back to safe community, just for an example, because I think it's simpler. Safe community, someone might say, I want to know that when I have a problem, the police are going to come quickly. That converts to response time. So that's something that if it were to make the list, we could come back to you with more crafted and industry specific measures that could track that over time. I see you're already writing, so I'm gonna stop
No,
talking.
we're working on outcomes.
You're working on the
Based on the
indicators.
goals that are on here?
Indicators. So
Okay.
we're going back to.
So I look at
Go back to slide.
Slide 9 has the examples.
Which I'm struggling to read because it's, if I,
Yeah, when you try to expand it, it's still.
yeah, you
hard.
can't
Go
expand
up
it.
1, go to 9, it has an example of safety.
I get the safety thing, but for example, under, well, there's develop Littleton Boulevard economic.
Nope.
No, these.
If you look at the top line, which are those boxes called outcomes.
Uh-huh.
Do you see vibrant community with rich culture? If you don't, you can turn your chair and they're
No, that
behind.
is them, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, no, I understand that. I'm struggling to connect. How do I know? I understand you wanna get crime rate down and that helps safety. But what what is an indicator of a vibrant community? What's my goal and strategy, and am I meeting my goal and strategy? That's what I'm struggling.
That's why tonight, we wanna just ask you to just, in your mind, think of what that means to you.
What does a vibrant community mean? Not a measurement.
Well, we wanna know what the measurement, yes.
What would indicate that to you?
That we're,
how would
that
you
we're
know?
making progress or not. How would
So,
you judge success?
an example I did for a vibrant community, I said events that draw people from Littleton and around the metro area, so.
What would a resident of Littleton see if we achieved these things?
Yeah,
Let's add holes.
there you go.
No.
Should I be more specific?
And we're just supposed to be doing vibrant community, or are we doing?
All of them,
All
all of
five.
them.
Just think of each one and come up with a few, however far your mind goes in what it would look like, what residents would see if we're making progress toward those outcomes.
You can do more than one you can do 2 or 3 on each one if you want to.
Got one for you, Reed, I got one for you.
So we're just trying to take some direction tonight from council on what these things are at a high level so that we can go back and do what staff does and kind of make them technical and
Do some measure.
come back with what we would measure.
Make sure we're sharing what you want us to share.
Yeah. And then just so we say it, because we've thought about the logistics of the meeting tonight, we do wanna make sure that we read we're gonna summarize what these are for the public and for the camera. That's gonna be Mike's job.
This is the one right here.
For Richard. Send this to my family, so I might have to change the order. What else?
Yeah, we got one for you, Reed, let's do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know where else to put it, so.
Other than the children. So I send this picture. And I said, I don't know if I can do
Set the bar high.
Hey.
I'm gonna call you Harvey Specter.
4 years. 4 years, no less.
It's pretty good considering Littleton's history. Losing everything.
Getting sued.
Stop making crazy decisions.
Is this gonna be up for Mike to be able to read?
Yeah.
Legibility would be good.
That was not part of the job requirement.
You can always
This
make it
first-
I feel like my daughter going through writing cursive at the moment. I was like, you don't have to worry about it, sweetie. Just get through this part. Like,
What is she learning right now?
100% anything
how
less.
cursive,
Oh, she's
right?
learning.
Yeah.
That comes in handy.
Yeah. When you have to sign your name.
Maybe you should put ADA compliant sidewalks tile. Yeah, but just. Makes you look very,
Robust,
Yes. These are down 39.40.
Oh. Is that what it is now? Oh, my wife.
I did, and she told me at work, she goes, why don't you call Reed right now?
Just faster.
I'm at 253.
Kelly says that you so
Joseph, if he made that first. As soon as he missed that, that's not a good sign.
Suspended.
She told me I watched on the corner.
I was trying to find out what he did. Was it the trip?
No, it was a check into the boards.
Pretty good.
It was after. But it was, he finished the check. No, it was in like the first period. Was it second period?
Give him a second, yeah.
Okay.
I think it was second because he got booed from that point on.
Yeah,
The
every
guy,
time you
you know,
touch the
the
puck.
shot on goal, the guy's going to start to head back up and you come, as soon as he turned his shoulder hard right there. He would have kept his shoulder a little bit square. He would just run to the boards like a typical.
Well, and he didn't brace for, you could tell he didn't know it was
Well,
coming, so he just
It was right when he turned
Mm.
those shoulders.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a 5-minute major. I thought he was gonna get thrown out in the game yesterday. But
Yeah.
so I think it
That's
was
back for
yeah.
town.
The guy got a concussion. He was supposed to be out the rest of the
Oh,
series.
that's, yeah.
And he's like their top scorer.
You know, hell, hockey's a tough game. It's not made for wussies.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Oh my god. Of course I can't see that. It's so mean.
You want me to put it here? You can put it in your journal.
Give it to,
Put it in your journal.
give it to Gretchen. It's gonna go in my journal.
You see it?
That is mean.
I like that one.
Bullying is not okay.
You're showing him love.
You
That's
gave
his
me a
love.
Post-it.
That's his
I was
love
gonna-
language.
That's what bullies say.
That's his love
I'm
language.
hurting you because I love you.
I'm gonna put less stringent recall requirements.
It's just Gretchen gives me
I'm sorry,
nice
Reed.
little
I
attaboys and
apologize.
kudos and.
I didn't really mean it. That's why I took it down.
It's okay.
The repair.
All right. Well, no, we still have.
Wait a
some-
second, I'm not done.
That's
What
fine, no
time?
rush.
Is Driscoll down there yet?
Just
Hey,
give me a
Feel
number.
free to name drop me
Game
on
going,
any
watch
of
the
your
game
posts.
Get rid of Reed.
It's always a highlight. This one right here will be, this will be episode 3 of the Doug and Reed thing.
Alright.
And don't poo-poo this, Jim. I mean, you're gonna be a central figure in our series, for sure.
I mean, it could be a central
Up
point
until
of it.
episode 2.
Oh,
Okay.
I guess if everyone else is wrapping up, that's why I'm.
Oh,
What, you think a new one?
Yeah, the fact that they took me seriously was a little concerning.
It's called consultants who are presenting counsel way too long.
I thought they did good, and a relevant question followed with.
We have one person watching this meeting tonight.
Fair point.
It was Lisa.
Oh,
Alright. See, still work.
hey, to be fair, I said the same thing.
Alright, are we all?
Nope.
The only thing I told Sama is I
you gonna have
wanted to
him read
make sure
everything,
that
or?
we
I'm gonna have
read.
them read both and
Specific.
summarize a little bit.
Can Mike do it?
I think Pam still works.
Are you still, Pam, are you still going?
He didn't say read, he said, I'm gonna read.
This is my last one.
Right.
Let's have Mike do it,
Yes.
but in a British accent.
part of sustainable community.
That's right.
Test his range.
Again, just to.
Heat goes off.
Still, Pam's still going.
Stay in character.
Goes down.
Or goes down.
British accent boy, I'd be in trouble.
Okay, mine are at the end, so I'm.
If the niceties aren't happening, Samuel was gonna facilitate this part of it. She and Kathleen wanted to be in Glenwood for an 8 a.m. session at this conference tomorrow, so I said, just go.
Don't drive
stick
away.
around.
Yeah,
So,
but
Mike and I
watching
are,
the TV out there, that's a few seconds behind reality.
all right, Mayor, shall we, do a little reporting out here? Mike, you wanna tell us what some of these?
British.
Yeah, so again, this is
this is what someone might see if we've accomplished the vibrant community with the rich culture. One thing that I've noticed as I've been reviewing these, making sure I can read them, is that you know, like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So some people put a description on this one, somebody else might have put that same or similar description on another one. So there's you know, some, when you see some evidence of success, it might fit under multiple categories. Alright, so under vibrant community with a rich culture, remove trash dumpster in the downtown and take over alleys for events, biking, etc. Every citizen in Littleton is aware of all the different arts and cultural activities in Littleton, so kind of a communications goal. Historic structures celebrated. Events that draw people from Littleton and the entire metro area. Better street quality, more public art, clean, no graffiti, active downtown, thriving shopping centers, foster art and culture, neighborhood satisfaction, friendly. People talk about our interesting public art. Lots of people outside. Allow
It must have been Steve.
Allow beads to be thrown from parade floats.
That was Kelly.
That wasn't me.
International food events. More additional dwelling units around the entire city. More diversified housing stock, increased diversity. Increased demographic diversity. Increase in number of type of community events. So
Nobody said more pot shops?
nobody said that, no.
More dope smoking?
There's
That's
still
under robust
That
economy.
was robust, yeah. That's why I had 3 sticky notes. I just wrote the same thing.
So sustainable community with the natural beauty. Reduce our waste by 5%. Trash-free parks and trails. Water ordinances like Aurora's. Tree planting program, clean streets and parks, conserve water, manage stormwater. Sustainable natural resources, water, land, trees. Decreasing natural resource impacts, air, water, stormwater management. Increase housing density. Purchase e-bikes for employees to use while working. Manage noise levels, more public art placement, clean parks, implement recommendations from the environmental ESC, Environment Sustainability.
Stewardship Committee.
Stewardship Committee, thank you. Preserve Highline Canal, South Platte Park, tree canopy, historic preservation.
Okay, well, you know what I meant.
Alright, so under robust and resilient economy, Littleton Boulevard redevelopment plan, 15 new businesses, increased housing stock and diversity and affordability, increased revenue diversity, decreased travel for essential goods and services, increased sales tax, diverse sales tax base, restaurants at all price ranges, attract new business to Littleton Village, welcome new business, diverse business base, adjusting for inflation, increase our sales tax collection along Main Street, Littleton Boulevard by 10%. Healthy tax receipts. Then under safe community, more visible canines at events, more bike lanes, take our parks and streets back, feeling of safety walking around Littleton, increased use of non-police response to non-emergency calls, greater options for substance abuse recovery, reduced crime, lower speed limits in residential, wider sidewalks, reduce petty crime by 70%, no pedestrian fatalities, proactive code compliance, pedestrian, cyclist, driver safety, equitable investment in all our parks and trails, less potholes. I imagine that's not more shallow potholes, that's fewer potholes. Feeling safe while walking in our parks and streets. Littleton residents feel confident in asking for help and know where to go to get help. And then high quality governance. Littleton becomes a Denver Post top places to work. Reed wins 100% of his lawsuits.
It's really up there.
Increase code compliance. Efficiency in contracts, grants, and procurement. Increase budget and spending transparency. Decrease staff turnover. Increase city employee job satisfaction. Increase staff diversity. Interaction with state, county, and other municipalities. Faster response time to developers and construction companies. Clear financial sustainability. new city attorney video.
Journal. I guess that new attorney.
Around the course of my reading, so I gotta be careful where I pause, sorry about that, reading. New city attorney video.
So it's not around town with Jim.
Was there just like a big dot?
Transparent, participation, inclusive, accountable.
Alright.
Good, well done, council. That was like 10 minutes and I hear a lot of indicators. You know, again, the goal will be to come up with a series of indicators for each of these that we can measure over time, that we can track. You know, we'll see things maybe trend up, we'll see things trend down. All good discussion material when those things are that way. So I hear a few things in there that will probably match up with some of these kind of 2 to 3 year goals or projects. But what we'll do is we're gonna go back and, you know, there are lots of industry indicators that will match up pretty well with what you came up with here. And we'll bring these back to you, might not be at your next, at the May 9th meeting, there's a lot of other work there. But we'll keep working on this and the goal will be to bring back, you know, those. New council. The package. Bring back a pretty complete picture, full picture of where we're going and how we're gonna know if we're getting there and the kind of work that we'll be doing over the next few years.
What I think is interesting, having, you know, been so involved with the DDA, is we did the same exercise last week. We finally get to start throwing ideas. We just called it the speed round, and we had similar charts set up and we were just throwing stuff out there. Anything as crazy as you want, you know, Ferris wheel, whatever it is.
Wait, was the Ferris wheel floating?
Yes. I hope that came out.
Littleton High, bigger than the London.
One similar to they have in Seattle that they showed a lot during the hockey game.
And I think Mike may have replaced that one.
Yeah, and but you know, between the city doing some of this, with Littleton Business Chamber doing some of this, with our economics team doing some of this, with the DDA doing some of this, I really think in the next 5 years, you're gonna really see a difference.
You know,
city.
the stock price is sticky notes going up.
Right. Oh, no, we didn't use any sticky notes. We had people just ascribing.
Throw them out.
I like that.
Thanks for your commitment and patience with sticky notes.
That was easy. That was an easy one.
That's all we have, Mayor.
Alright.
Okay, any other questions or follow-up comments on this from council? Alright,
Looking forward to what you come up with.
Yeah, thank you.
With all that. A lot of it we're already doing, which is great, you know. It's
Alright,
awesome.
so before we jump to the city manager and attorney updates, I've got an update. I don't know if some of you may have seen that Senate Bill 23-213 is gonna be on the Appropriations Committee tomorrow with amendments that basically take away almost all the state preemptions and kind of turns it into the study kind of package that DOLA will be in charge with developing guidelines basically to kind of more work in conjunction with cities that mandate and do things. So it takes out the upzoning mandate and then the ADU mandate. The one mandate that is still in the bill is the occupancy limits. The cities won't be allowed to say you can't have 3 unrelated people living in a unit together.
I'm surprised cities still do that.
So some do, yeah,
We do 5.
So that's Senator Bridges, who's the chair of the Appropriations Committee, called me this morning to let me know. And then it took us a few hours to get the document there, but they'll be on. It's not on the agenda for appropriations right now, but they'll pull it. I think the Senate has thrown out all the rules. They can pull bills left and right because they've got 12 days left to go through. They probably still have 300 bills to try to get through. So this is just still in committee. Then it'll go to the full Senate floor. I'm assuming they'll be on probably Thursday or Friday for second reading, and it might even, depends on what happens with amendments on the floor, could potentially be through the Senate, before next Tuesday's meeting too. So you never.
So on the occupancy, what is What's the exemption?
Municipalities can't make rules limiting the number
No.
of non-related people that live together. So
I
that's it.
didn't know if there was some threshold or something.
Nope, there was no threat, it just said you can't make.
So the ADUs is off too, as well?
I think it was off, I didn't see that in there.
As I
I'm pretty
yeah, I
sure
think they
the
removed
part
it.
of the ADUs,
Yeah,
the
ADU is part,
duplexes.
it's going to the study, so. I haven't heard, I know CML was meeting with the sponsor this afternoon.
Move Kelly.
Sprawl to
More information
Kansas,
tomorrow,
just
so.
sprawl.
Alright, so turn to the city manager, any update
One
report?
quick thing that I wanna update, Colleen asked me to let council know. She has been working pretty hard with our redistricting committee. And they're coming up on the big public reveal of the options for the districts. It had been planned for kind of the opening of the public displays, the public meetings, on April 27th, so Thursday. But because of some work that needs to be done, some walls that need to be rearranged, I believe at the library, they're gonna delay that to Monday, March 1st.
March or May?
I'm sorry.
It's in May.
March. May 1st. Thank you. And just again, what kind of the plan is that they'll have large scale maps of the options that the committee has come up with on display here at the Littleton Center, kind of on this middle wall next to the chambers, here next to the community room, the museum, the wall just off the main entrance, and the library, the wall behind the self-checkout kiosks on the first floor. So they're also gonna have a redistricting landing page on the city's website, go live at the same time as those big maps go up, with a high level overview of the project. That'll be active on the city's website. Community comments will be accepted via online comment cards on both the landing page and the city's website and the GIS page. And also each physical location will have comment cards in a Dropbox. There is an open house scheduled for May 17th. We'll make sure that that's on all the calendars from 3:30 to 6 in the community room. So next door here. And members of the community will have an opportunity to talk about the process and the options with the election commission and GIS staff. Then that public display, the public exhibition will be concluding on May 30th. So we'll have a month of that public review, with the goal of the election commission to meet on Friday, June 2nd, to try to make some final determinations on which of those three options will become the new council districts. So that's what I have.
Great. City attorney.
Yeah, the mayor took some of my comments, but in terms of kind of the issue with family, if you will, and occupancy limits, I believe we took that out. And when we adopted the ULUC definition of family, which related to the unrelated members of the family. So I will monitor what 213 looks like, and we'll tab sections of our ULUC that need to be updated in.
I didn't quite get your maps that you sent out to us.
Pardon?
Your maps that you sent to us?
The map in terms of
Yeah.
Where affected and that kind of stuff, yeah, I did.
Yeah, the originally there were certain changes that might have to happen through our residential units, depending on if they were within a certain area of what's called a bus line. There was some question as to whether or not it's just bus stops, but the way that it's written was just bus lines. The way that we had kind of mapped it out is that it would, as originally written, would affect probably 67% of the residences within the city of Littleton.
So the idea,
Potentially.
the previous amendment was everything in those areas
Right,
had to
yeah.
be upzoned and then.
It's sort of
Yeah, kind of the upzoning, if you will. That's one of the controversial pieces that was originally contemplated. So.
That's out now.
Well, that, as it
Some
be
of it.
introduced, some of it, and who knows, once it gets back to the floor, things can change again, so we never know until.
But, you know,
all kinds of things.
with that said, you know, there's a lot of things that have existed in our code that have never happened. So you take the entire corridor of Santa Fe, I mean, you could have built it till you hit the moon. It doesn't mean that because you allow it, that it actually comes into fruition. So, there is a little, we'll see what shakes out, but it certainly would provide a little bit more certainty for some of our residents, but it's not the end of the world.
Anything else?
Nope. Thank you.
One final thing for me, so next week, I'm not be able to make the meeting, and I think Councilmember Milliman and Councilmember Grove will not be there, so it's just the four corners of the table here, so if anyone can't make it, please let staff know, cause then we won't have a quorum.
Is that regular meeting, you said?
It's a regular meeting, but Mayor Pro Tem will be
Ready,
stepping in and
maybe, I'm
You
gonna
can
work
do
with
it.
Kim to get that thing
You
right.
can do it.
so, great.
We'll be there.
Alright, it's 8:20, we're adjourned.
Yay.
Thank you.
Great.
Have a good, safe trip.
Thanks. We'll head down in the morning.